Hi there guys, so Anthony Joshua and his promoter Eddie Hearn are still looking for solutions to their mandatory problems because they have had two mandatories called, the IBF, which will be Kubrat Pulev, and the WBO, which is Oleksandr Usyk. Now, Anthony Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has commented on the situation. This is what he had to say. Conversations are ongoing with all parties to plan what's next and what will really come over the next few weeks. We are still awaiting clarification from the governing bodies to confirm who is chronologically next, but right now everything is in play. In terms of Usyk versus Chisora, that is still a potential outcome, but March 7 is unlikely. Instead, we may have March 28 on hold at the O2. So clearly at the moment there is no resolution to the problem. We don't know who is going to come next. Obviously, I believe it's going to be the IBF, because why would you vacate the IBF when that belt would go to a different platform if you were to vacate that? I mean, that is a certainty. That belt will go to a different broadcasting system if Anthony Joshua vacates the IBF. And how difficult is it then going to be for him to get it back? In fact, I don't believe he will ever get it back. So the best thing for him to do is to vacate the WBO. Now, I think it was a smart move from Eddie Hearn to move quickly with the Usyk versus Chisora deal. Because if Oleksandr Usyk is fighting Chisora, then he cannot fight Anthony Joshua as a mandatory, meaning he will have to step aside anyway. And Usyk would be happy to do that if he knows he's going to get his opportunity after fighting Chisora, which means there is a resolution there from the WBO. So Oleksandr Usyk will wait, he will fight Chisora in the meantime, maybe win, maybe lose, we don't know. Chisora is still a very tough opposition, and he's a natural heavyweight. Oleksandr Usyk has only fought once at heavyweight, and that was against Chaz Weatherspoon, and Derek Chisora is a higher level opponent than Chaz Weatherspoon, so that will really test Oleksandr Usyk, and maybe Usyk does need a bit of time to settle in to the heavyweight division. Maybe he knows that. Maybe that's why he would be happy to have one more before enforcing his mandatory situation, which has already been called, obviously. But I think he would be happy to take a step aside, especially if he's fighting Derek Chisora in the UK. That will also build his fan base in the UK as well. So it's a win-win for Usyk. As long as he beats Derek Chisora, he gets that opportunity. Now, that is no guarantee that he is going to beat Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora is a tough task for anyone on any night. Derek Chisora will be there and he will try and win the fight for the full 12 rounds. So Usyk will have his work cut out against Chisora. Chisora will make him work for it. But this does serve as a great resolution to the problem, because then Anthony Joshua is free to go and fight Kubrat Pulev, get that fight out of the way. Then he can fight perhaps the winner of Usyk versus Chisora. Because if Chisora were to win that, then perhaps he would get the opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua. Obviously, at the moment, it's just speculation. We don't really know what is going to happen. But as I said, I think the logical choice would be to vacate the WBO if there is no resolution to be had. But as I said, it is a very clever move and very smart from Eddie Hearn to move fast on the Derek Chisora versus Oleksandr Usyk fight. Because then no belts have to be vacated, because Oleksandr Usyk, the WBO mandatory, will be fighting Derek Chisora. And as long as the WBO don't go down through their rankings and give the next person the opportunity, then Anthony Joshua does not have to vacate, as long as they are able to find a resolution to this situation. Now, Anthony Joshua has explained that whether he has to vacate or not, he will still stand as champion. He will go into a unification fight straight away after facing his mandatory, whoever comes next. So that does kind of imply that if there is a belt to be vacated, it will be the WBO, because then he can go straight into a unification fight, because that fighter will be a matchroom fighter. The WBO title will be picked up by a matchroom fighter. We can guarantee that, because Joseph Parker will fight Oleksandr Usyk for the vacant title, and Joe Parker is a matchroom fighter as well as Oleksandr Usyk, whereas both fighters who would be contesting for the IBF title would not be on the same platform as Anthony Joshua, and you can guarantee they would not give Anthony Joshua the opportunity to unify. The first thing they will do is either, if Top Rank get it, which would be Kubrat Pulev, then he'll go in with Tyson Fury, and if Adam Kalnacki were to win, he's on PBC, he'll go straight in with Deontay Wilder. You can guarantee that. They would not give Anthony Joshua the opportunity when they can give one of their own fighters that opportunity. Even though it would probably be better for the fighter who were to win that IBF belt to go into a unification fight with Anthony Joshua. Great opportunity, great money, great crowds, and great publicity. But they won't do it, and why? Because their platform and their broadcasting deals are more important than their fighter. That is just PBC for you. Not so much Top Rank, but definitely PBC. So at this stage, we clearly don't know what is going to happen, but Anthony Joshua has explained he will stand as champion and he will regain the title that he has to vacate, meaning it's likely going to be the WBO. And Eddie Hearn has explained there is still no resolution, but there will be at some point And again, it's a very good choice from Eddie Hearn to try and push for that Usyk versus Chisora fight, because that does kind of put the WBO mandatory on the back burner slightly, and Usyk may be open to a resolution if that fight were to take place. And in my opinion, it's in Usyk's best interest to have more fights at heavyweight. And that Chaz Weatherspoon performance, it was good, it was very skillful, and he looked great. But still, I believe that Oleksandr Usyk needs more time at heavyweight and maybe needs to fight one, maybe two more heavyweights before going in there with Anthony Joshua. It's a tall ask for him to go straight in with the current unified heavyweight world champion after just one fight at heavyweight. I mean, Oleksandr Usyk can do it, but still it's going to do Usyk no harm to have a few more fights at heavyweight before going in there with the current champion. Because let's remember, Usyk is still 31, 32, so time is on his side, whereas Kubrat Pulev is 38, 39, time is not on his side. So realistically, Usyk has time to wait if he has to, whereas Kubrat Pulev doesn't. So it's going to be the Pulev fight next, in my opinion. And Oleksandr Usyk will come down the line. Whether Anthony Joshua faces him as is mandatory, because obviously you have that Derek Chisora fight there, that could pacify Oleksandr Usyk until he gets the opportunity to get in there with Anthony Joshua, or you could possibly have the WBO belt becoming vacant, and then Usyk fighting Joe Parker for the vacant WBO title, and then the winner will go straight in to a unification fight with Anthony Joshua. Now, there's no guarantee that Usyk is going to beat Joe Parker anyway. Joe Parker is a very good heavyweight, very skilled. He does like to box, he does need to fight a little bit more sometimes, I think, but I think Joe Parker is definitely one for the future in the heavyweight division, and he definitely will come again. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? The current situation with the governing bodies, the WBO and the IBF, and Anthony Joshua explaining he will remain as champion and go straight into a unification fight after. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, guys, click the thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.